Welcome to lesson 7.5, where we're taking a look at order of operations. Yesterday in our lesson 7.4, we realized that whatever is in parentheses must be done first, and that is a part of the order of operations that we're going to be looking at today as well. Your joke for the day. Let's find a good one here. Why didn't the two fours want any dinner? Well, because they already ate. Started? Let's go ahead and work on some of these exponents. I would like you to pause at this time and go ahead and answer the questions. All right, here we go, getting started. 5 squared, 5 times 5, 25. 1, and it's to the second power, is going to be 1. 2 to the fourth power is going to be 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to be equal to 16. 5 to the first, 5 times just 1 is going to be 5. 1 to the 10th power, so 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, always going to be 1. 3 to the fourth power, so 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, answer of 81. 2 to the third, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 10 to the fourth, 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000, times 10 is going to be 10,000. And 10 to the fifth, keeping with that 10,000, and we're going to multiply it by another 10 to get 100,000. All right, in your math journal on page 222, there's a problem, and it says Robin asked her friends to figure out how much money she needed to go to the movies. She asked her friends, how much is 4 plus 5 times 8? Well, Francis and Zach yelled out 72, and Ann and Rick yelled 44. How did Francis and Zach get 72? How did Ann and Rick get the answer of 44? Well, it's all about the orders of operation. How Francis and Zach received that answer. They did 4 plus 5, which we get as 9, and they times that by 8 to get to 72. They had to have used parentheses, because remember, we do whatever is in parentheses first, so 4 plus 5, which is 9, then times it by 8. How did Ann and Rick get 44? Well, they did this a little bit different, where they still did 4 plus 5 times 8, but they did some of the order of operations. They didn't need parentheses, because maybe they already knew you always do multiplication and division before you do addition and subtraction, or maybe there was parentheses around 5 times 8. So 5 times 8 is going to be 40, and add that to 4 is 44. Robin's friends could not agree who was right, so finally Robin said, I need to buy 1 under 12 ticket for $4 and 5 adult tickets for $8. With this now new knowledge, Robin's friends knew who was right. And here is how they knew. They knew that they were buying 1 ticket for $4, and they were adding that to the 5 adult tickets for $8. So who was right? Well, it would have been Ann and Rick who had the answer of 44. Understanding order of operations is really important, especially when you get into longer expressions. You can always think about this silly sentence to help you remember. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P stands for parentheses, E exponents, M multiply, D divide, A for adding, and S for subtracting. Another thing that students have often remembered that is called PEMDAS. Okay, for the P, E, M, D, A, S. So you can either try to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS to help you be successful. Knowing our knowledge from PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we should be able to answer this question. If we take a look, we're always going to move from left to right. But first you need to work on, is there any parentheses? There are not in this example. Are there any exponents? Not in this example. Then we need to look at multiplication and division. And in this case, there is multiplication right here. So we need to do that step first. So 4 times 5 is 20. There is no other multiplication or division in the sentence, so then we can go ahead and do our last step, which is addition and subtraction. And remember, we always work from the left to the right. So 26 minus 20 would give us an answer of 6, and we're adding it to 2 to get 8. Looking at another example, first taking a look, do we have any parentheses? No. Exponents? No. Multiplication and division. And in this case, there is both multiplication and division. So what do you do first? Well, you always go from left to right. So first I'm going to start out with 9 divided by 3, which is going to give us an answer of 3. Then I'm moving to the right and I'm going to multiply it by 5, which is 15. And then I can go ahead and add it to the 36 that is already there. So 36 plus 15. Great job if you're doing this already in your head. So that is going to be the answer of 51. One other example, taking a look, do we have parentheses? No. Exponents? No. Is there multiplication or division? There is. What is 3 times 6? That's 18. Now we have to add that with our 5. 18 plus 5 is 23. All right, here is a challenge for you. Try to see if you can figure this one out on your own. Go ahead and pause the video and work out this problem. All right, to help us through it, parentheses needs to go first. So first I am going to do 12. Now there are no exponents, so I can work on multiplication and division, which I already did, so I can go ahead to the next step of addition and subtraction. And remember, I'm going to work left to right. So 14 minus 12, which is 2, add to 7, which is 9, minus 6, which is 3, minus 3, which is going to give us an answer of 3. Go ahead and pause again and try to work out this problem. What you're really trying to figure out is what would you do first in the problem. If you gave the answer of 6 minus 2, you are correct because it is in parentheses. Remember PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting. When solving a problem that involves the order of operations, the first thing you must do is think about PEMDAS, D parentheses. All right, if we're going to go ahead and put these in order, the first thing that we would always want to do is parentheses. Second, exponents. 3, multiply and divide, then add and subtract. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All right, switching gears a little bit, this is going to be in your math journal as a little bit of a review. It's going to be page 224. Oftentimes, you might hear myself or you might see it on IXL to ask you to reduce or put into simplest form. What they're asking you to do is to make that number the smallest as you can so you can no longer divide it. Remember, we're trying to get an equivalent fraction and it has to be the smallest equivalent fraction. So let's go ahead and jump down to number 2 here. I'll make it blow it up just a little bit there. So we're looking 20 divided by 20 30ths as our fraction. What is something that you could both divide the top and the bottom by? Many of you said, hey, they're both even, so I know I could divide each by 2. That is something that you could do. Some of you are saying, hey, they both end in 0, which means that they're divisible by 10. That's another way to do it. But remember, whatever you do to the top, you must always do to the bottom. So let's go ahead and divide it by 10. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Remember, if you do it to the top, you have to do it to the bottom to our denominator. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 2/3 would be the simplest form for 20/30ths. Now taking a look at example number 4, or example number 3, 7/28. What could you divide both the top and the bottom by? Thinking about your multiples or your factors, some of you may realize that, hey, 7 goes into 7 and 7 goes into 28. So I could divide each by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 1/4 is in simplest form compared to 7/28. All right, good luck as you get started with your math journal. You will be completing pages 222, 223, and you're going to be also taking a look at the page we just worked on, which is 224.